With today's encounter, we were able to establish eternal peace on the Korean Peninsula, and I believe that we have overcome a big challenge in this aspect. All of the citizens here on the Korean Peninsula, as well as the international society, has seen great hope. And as President Trump, you have said earlier, the two countries will establish teams, and you will engage in dialogue and negotiations. And I believe and I hope that we will have great fruits yielding soon. Thank you very much, President Trump.
Yes, the initial plan had been for President Trump and I to co-visit the OP Ulit. However, thanks to President Trump's bold proposal, this historic meeting had taken place. And now I'd like to pay my tribute to the creative and bold approach that President Trump has demonstrated. And also, through this meeting today, we in the process of achieving complete denuclearization and permanent peace, I believe that we have been able to go over a big hurdle, and this has actually presented a big hope for the 80,000 Korean people as well as the people of the whole world. I believe that it is also a significant progress that the United States and North Korea have agreed to set up teams to begin working level negotiations in the near future, and that in itself constitutes a success. So I'm looking forward to great accomplishment through this process, and I would like to thank President Trump again.
Well, thank you very much. And I also want to thank Chairman Kim, because frankly, when we put out that notice, knowing the press, like I do, had he decided not to come, you would have hit me. You would have hit me hard. So we're thanking him and for doing it on such quick notice. He had less than 24 hours, I guess, and that's pretty good. We moved mountains. I want to thank Secret Service and all of the people that work so hard, our military in particular, all of the people that work so hard, because setting something like this up so quickly is very hard. It's very hard. And I can only say the meeting was a very good one, very strong, very solid, great relationship, and we'll see what can happen. Now we'll just see if we can do something. But again, we want to get it right. We don't want to, we're not looking for speed. We're looking to get it right. And in the meantime, there's been no nuclear tests. There's been no ballistic missiles. There's been a lot of goodwill. And there continues to be, maybe if anything, better. I think probably after today, better than it was even before. So I want to thank all of the media. I'm going over to our great military base, and I'm going to speak to our troops. And I've been doing this now for about 3 weeks straight, in one form or another, having to do with one thing or another. And I actually look forward to being on Air Force One. We're going to be heading home, and a lot of you are coming with us, but I look forward to it. But first, I'm going to say a few words to our troops. Yes.
President Trump, can you, at the moment at the line, at the border itself, can you walk us through what happened, what the chairman said to you, what was his invitation to you to cross it, and what that moment felt like to you?
Yes. We went and met at the line, and in meeting at the line, I said, would you like me to come across? He said, I would be so honored. And that's the way it worked out. And I guess, from what I understand, this is the first time something like that, Mr. Admiral, first time that something like that's happened. But I asked him, I said, would you like me to come across the line? He said, I would be honored to do that. I would be honored. Now, I didn't know really what he was going to say, but it was my honor to do it. We had a very good meeting.
Did you extend the invitation for him to come to the United States, sir?
I did. Actually, at some point, it'll all happen. If it all works out, at some point, that'll all happen. But this was a pretty big move today, I imagine, based on what everyone's telling me. But it was my honor, and I said that to him. And we had a pretty long chat. We were going to have a chat for 5 minutes, as you know, and it ended up being pretty long, I guess an hour or something. But it was a very positive, this was a very positive day, a very positive event, and I think it's good really for the world. This is what happened today, I think, is great for South Korea. I think it's great for North Korea. I think it's great for the world. You know, when we started this, you had missiles flying over Japan. They weren't so happy. They wouldn't, you know, you'd have the sirens going and a lot of problems. I think you all remember the case of Hawaii. You remember that whole situation. You remember Guam. You remember what was happening there. I mean, the world was a very tense place. And I became president, and we went through a rough dialogue for a while. You've covered it very well. But we went through a very rough dialogue, and then all of a sudden we came together. So let's see how it happens. We have Steve is going to do a fantastic job. He's going to be representing us in the talks, and we'll be dealing with South Korea. We'll be dealing with President Moon and his people. But pretty much it's going to be, the initial talks will be between the United States and with North Korea. And President Moon will be right there taking over.
What was Chairman Kim's response to your invitation?
The invitation initially? Well, we were contacted almost immediately when I went out with
to the United States.
Oh, well, I just asked him outside. I said, you know what? At the right time, you're going to come over. We're going to go over there. We have a ways to go yet. We'll see. But I would certainly extend the invite. But I actually mentioned out there in front of the press, I said, anytime he wants to do it. But I think we want to take this down to the next step. Let's see what happens. A very, very positive meeting. And we had a positive meeting, very positive, on trade with President Xi of China. That was a great meeting we had yesterday. See what happens, but it was a great meeting. And again, no hurry. All these people, they hurry with these deals. They turn out to be disasters. No hurry, no real speed. Go ahead.
Mr. President, why does Chairman Kim need to set up a new team since you already each had?
Well, we have a team. We have a team, but we're gonna spearhead it. And he's also putting somebody in charge who we know and we like.
Were you able to validate that those people are still alive who were his previous negotiators?
Well, I think they are. I can tell you the main person is. I know that because we know that. And I would hope the rest are too. I would really hope the rest are too. But I can tell you that they said that the person that we dealt with wasn't, and then I know for a fact he is.
Did the chairman promise that he wouldn't do any more missile tests? Because there have been a few since Hanoi.
Well, very small ones.
Sure.
These are missiles that practically every country tests. I mean, we're very safe. We don't consider that a missile test. Actually, it wasn't a test. But we're talking about ballistic missiles, long-range ballistic missiles. And not only not testing them, hasn't even come close to testing. And most importantly, there were no nuclear tests. If you remember the end of the Obama administration and the early part of my administration was tremendous nuclear testing. They had a mountain moved over. You remember the big earthquake? They thought it was an earthquake. It was a massive 9-point-something earthquake. It turned out to be a nuclear test. So I think we're on a very good path. We're on a very good path. This was a terrific day. And now let's say hello to our great troops, right? You guys going over there? Good. I'll see you over there. Thank you all very much. Excuse me? They're staying on. I mean, at some point, look, I'm looking forward to taking them off. I don't like sanctions being on this country. I'm looking forward, but the sanctions remain, yes. But at some point during the negotiation, things can happen. And that's what we'll be talking about, sanctions, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
So there you have it. Today we saw a historic encounter among the leaders of the two Koreas, as well as visiting U.S. President Trump. Now, U.S. President Trump has wrapped up his summit talks with North Korean leader just a few minutes ago, the summit which lasted for about 1 hour. Now, as he wrapped up his summit with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, U.S. President Trump to